Black Thought, the super lyricist, your arch nemesis.
Yo, what's up? This is Black Thought from the Legendary Roots Crew. You checking out Myraine, and hiphopsince87.com.
Alright, so your recent collaboration was with producer J. Perry. You guys touched on James Brown, and he's actually one of the most sampled artists in hip-hop.
Yeah.
And could you discuss that collaboration a bit and how that
J. Perry and I, we collaborate all the time. He's my DJ. When I use a DJ who isn't, Questlove or DJ Jazzy Jeff or Rich Medina or some other iconic Philadelphia DJ, I use J. Perry. So he and I, we've toured, not the world, but we definitely toured the States extensively, doing what we call a live mixtape show. At this particular event, it was taking place the night before the James Brown biopic Get On Up came out, and I'm one of the actors in the film. J. Perry did like an official mixtape in conjunction with that film, and it just made sense that for this particular show we rocked overall. Any chance for me to, or any excuse for me to rock over break beats, was always welcome.
I was just gonna say that because my brother was actually like a really active breakdancer back in like the late 90s or 2000s, and he would blast James Brown throughout the house.
Yeah, that's the foundation. So for me, I'm in my bag over any breaks, but especially James Brown joints. Like
what's one of your favorite cuts?
Man, you can't go wrong with Funky Drummer. But the grunt, Give It Up. Like any James Brown joint.
I was saying, Give It Up or Tune.
Yeah, all those breaks are just the essential, quintessential, breaks. So
you actually brought up an important thing as far as the DJs you've worked with. How important is the role of the DJ, and how has it evolved over time in your eyes?
The DJ began as the absolute most important part of the party. DJs were few and far between. Equipment with which to do a party was scarce. So, if you were that dude that happened to have a sound system and it was banging and you could, blend and, people's heads would explode if you could also cut. You know what I'm saying? It was like, it was all about the DJ, about, Kool Herc or Africa Bambaataa or, Grandmaster Flash and so on and so forth. Then the MC, was just like the DJ's hype man. Like the MC came out to, Love Bug, Starsky, Busy Bee.
So it's kind of like the roles have reversed.
Yeah, the roles have definitely. Originally, the rapper was, just saying some little stuff to keep the DJ's party going, and now, people come out with the DJ, and the DJ is in the background like, oh, the name's up here, hey boy, let's go, you're ready to turn up top. And, like that's what the DJ does. But that's what the evolution has been like. But the DJ still, remains. He still plays an integral role.
Because that was the person that came to mind. Yeah.
But it's all, as an MC, it's always a standing. Yeah. It's an offer like who want what, whenever. So like people know. It's not like I don't have to name any names because don't nobody really want it with me. So like the difference in like back in the day and now is that battle rapping has become like it's transcended hip hop, and it's transcended. The genre has evolved into something that is like a league, literally a league of its own, like a different standard that isn't necessarily even applicable in the world of, like in my world. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So a battle rapper, who is solely a battle rapper is just a totally different species than someone, who's just like an MC, So, but it's definitely a mutual respect because people understand from whence they both, both variations of the craft came, so to speak. But
would you say Eminem kind of broke that barrier a little bit?
Eminem definitely broke the barrier. Eminem probably is, responsible for. He's probably responsible in some ways for that evolution. You know what I'm saying? But again, Eminem at the time when he was out there battling people and rapping, he was really influenced. He was part of that whole raucous wave, and he was influenced by, you know, not only the other rappers in Detroit that he was surrounded by, you know, people who used to go and spit at Maurice Malone's shop, but he was influenced by people like Black Moon and, you know, just the artists of that era. It was something that was audible, like you could really notice it in the way he used to spit. You know?
Interesting enough, I actually interviewed Big Pun's wife recently.
Oh yeah.
Videos. She brought up the fact that, you know, Big Pun was actually vouching for Eminem. He was a really big fan of Eminem.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because I had mentioned to her, when you listen to Eminem, you could hear the cadence and how his double rhyming and all that really reflects how Big Pun sounded. And I know you had a feature with Big Pun, Super Lyrical, which is actually one of my favorite cuts.
Oh yeah.
Off of Capital Punishment. Could you just take us back a bit and discuss how it was working with Big Pun?
Well, working with Big Pun, you know, Pun in his interviews, he would always say that, you know, I was one of his favorite dudes. So, yeah, you know, when he came out, I had a, you know, I was also a fan, like from the gate, from I'm not a player, like from before, I'm not a player, you know what I mean? I heard him spitting on some joints and I was like, yo, dude is nice. He sounded like, you know, a Puerto Rican, a G-rap, you know what I mean? You know, which is essentially, you know, that's where artists like myself and Nas and, I mean, so many of us have got, like, where some variation of G-rap meets Rakim meets, you know, throw in someone else, you know what I'm saying? So, I appreciated that about Pun. And, yeah, he and I, we would talk on the phone often and, you know, exchange bars. And when he was working on his album, he said he wanted to get me on his joint. When I recorded Super Lyrical, he wasn't in the studio with me. He was on the road someplace. I had just come from Europe and came straight from the airport to.
So did he have the beat for you and hit you up like, hey, can you just, you know, drop?
Yeah. We talk. I would talk to him all the time. I would talk to his wife. I would talk to him. You know, so I knew what I was going to spit, what the song concept was, and you know, I may have even heard his verse beforehand. But I came straight from the airport to go and do this joint, and I was in the studio with like other Terror Squad dudes like Triple Sace and Cuban Links and all those dudes. And I mean, it was cool. It was dope. You know, I did it. It was easy breezy, painless recording session. And I was trading Pun a verse for a verse. He never made it to the studio that night, but we were against the clock at our deadline, so I had to throw another one of my homies on there in his stead, and that wound up being the record that we introduced Beanie Siegel on. So Beans took Pun's place on the song Adrenaline. And you know, yeah, I guess everything happens for a reason, and that song is what kind of catapulted, you know, Beanie Siegel as an artist, and made Jay-Z and, you know, other people that he would build relationships with later on kind of take notice. So I mean, that being said, it's only one Big Pun, you know what I mean? So I think as an artist, he's gonna have to find his, you know, he's gonna have to find out how to hit his stride in order to become like his own man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, rather than like, you know, you don't want to just, you know, I think Corey Guns is a good example of someone who kind of, I mean, he's not a huge pop phenomenon, but he's etched out his own identity in that, you know, people don't describe him as, you know, this is Peter Gunn's son. You know what I mean? It's almost an afterthought.
So who are some new artists that you're listening to personally?
New artists?
In hip-hop and any other genre?
You know what? I don't really listen to that much music, man. I listen to just lots and lots of classic, you know, rock and soul and funk and stuff like that. Really, really old vintage hip hop, and yeah, you know, that's kind of how I keep my edge. You know, I'm not too influenced by what's trending. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to get caught up in the new style. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I like to kind of step outside of that and then bring what it is that I do. You got basically any city could have been Baltimore. You know what I mean? And any city can potentially still become another Baltimore in the way that riots were just popping off left and right in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? You have all of these different communities that are essentially powder kegs. You know what I mean? And sometimes all it takes is one, you know, agitation. It takes that straw to break the camel's back, so to speak, you know, for shit to hit the fan. So, you know, it's a sad state of affairs here in America, but it's not a surprising one, and it's nothing that's new. But we're in talks now to bring the picnic to New York, so we might be bringing it to New York within the next couple of years.
And my last question, I've been asking this question for 5 years now. I always end my interviews with this. If hip hop were a person, what would you say to him?
How do you know it would be a woman? Like, if hip hop was a person,
I'm just referencing the common song. I used to love it.
Oh, okay. If hip hop were a person, I would say, I would say, damn girl, you getting old, but you still got it. You know what I'm saying? You still look good, sound good, smell good. I'm glad that I met you when I did.
Black Thought, the super lyricist.